All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host for today's broadcast, the same Layer 13. Thank you very much for joining us today. I am joined by Lil Kid Suave as we are prepared to get underway for the 5th race of X League's GT3 Pro category. Qualifying has just wrapped up just a little bit ago. Suave, it's great to be here with you. After you saw qualifying, what do you think we can expect from the race proper?
I think we could expect a very nice head-to-head between Railgun and Shadow. These guys were one-upping each other through qualifying. It wasn't until the second to last lap that we finally finalized the results. Ruins picking up third after winning yesterday's PCS race is pretty damn good. Jeff pulling up fourth, and Maeve riding out the fifth spot of our top five.
All right, so one thing to consider, last week we saw some interesting fights going on for the second and third place positions that got derailed due to disconnect issues, but we also are now going to have a slightly larger field than what we did last week. Last week we were only hanging out about 10, 11 cars. We seem to have significantly more drivers for this event. We're looking at about 15, 16 drivers for today's event. I have to ask, Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course, do you think that there's something special here that is bringing more people in to run this, or do you think that more people have just gotten their pro license and they would have been here regardless?
A bit of both. There's a couple people here who got the pro license literally within the last few hours, but also I think a lot of people want to do Indy. As you see, there's full teams this time instead of a whole bunch of fragmented cars. So these guys are in it to win it for the championship standings, for the team championship standings.
All right, real quickly, let's go ahead and look over the drivers that are going to be partaking in today's event. One of the Porsche drivers is going to be VNX Ruins in that white with purple shades Porsche. You're also going to have Aero 592. He's not someone I've gotten to see recently. I'll be interested to see what his actual performance is like. We also are going to have Agent D's 1 in the Sakura flower painted Coca-Cola Porsche. We want to go ahead and run us through our Dodge Viper drivers real quick.
We got Rebirth in the Dodge Viper alongside Turtle and Quinn. Rebirth's been here since season 1. He has decent pace. The other two are alright, but I'm not expecting too much, if I'm being honest.
Well, sometimes when you're not expecting a whole lot, that could be the most interesting things because you can be surprised. Okay, some of the other drivers, it's reordered the entire grid. I do apologize for that. Some of the other drivers who are going to be taking part in today's event, It's Maze will be in the number 13 HP-sponsored Chevrolet C7. NWR Arkina is going to be in the Ferrari, in that NWR painted Ferrari. You also have Tempered Ship. It'll be into the number 21 Chevrolet. He has teammates with It's Maze. We're also going to have NDL Violet. They're going to be in the Ferrari. NDL Shadow in the Aston Martin Vantage. SRT Jeff DXT, who put on a pretty good show yesterday in the crazy strategy battles going on. He's going to be showing up in one of the 4 GTs for this event. We also are going to have Les Wick, 9898. The 4 GTs were very fast at Hockenheim. Keep an eye on them today. We're also going to be having... trying to make sure I'm not re-saying any names. I do apologize. No, I believe that's it. I believe that is our entire field that we're going to be looking at today. So I believe it's going to be about 14, 15 drivers for today's event.
It'll be a nice medium-sized grid today. I'm looking forward to seeing how they all battle each other up.
All right, 44 laps. Yesterday, Suave, you were in the Porsche Cup race where we saw a lot of strategy play out over the course of 44 laps. Technically 43 laps. You had 43 racing laps and 1 pace lap. What do you think is the ideal strategy coming into this event?
I think after trying the alternate strategy yesterday, I think soft waiting is probably going to be it.
Seems like the same thing that I noticed as well yesterday. But here's the wild card. If everyone is going soft, and you end up with a big chunk of cars all running right on top of each other on track for a prolonged period of time, you may end up in a scenario where you're losing too much time fighting and passing and defending other cars. In that scenario, it may be more advantageous to jump onto an alternate strategy just so you can maximize the amount of time in clean green air. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out going forward, ladies and gentlemen. All right, right now it looks like we're just waiting on SRT, Jeff DXD to ready up, along with It's Maze and Les Railgun, one of our 4GT drivers. We also are going to have a pace car in the form of, I believe, TCPP Photo. It's either going to be him or Reckless. I'm not sure which one of those two are going to be performing pace car duties.
One might be pace car, and I think the other one is safety car. As Monaco is testing the bots, I think they should be alright today. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. But, yeah.
I think one thing that will be interesting to keep an eye on will be Les Railgun versus Indy Shadow. Shadow, we know, has already well established himself within the group. He is the guy who has helped make a lot of the tunes in the fixed tune Porsche Cup series, and he's qualifying right up next to the front, just alongside Les Railgun at the head of the grid. So keep an eye on him. That will be very interesting to see how those two go back and forth. I think you actually were talking about that before I started up my broadcast. Keep an eye on that duo there.
Yeah. And then, I don't think Violet showed up for qualifying, or maybe I missed it, but watch out for him too. Assuming his internet doesn't mess up like last time at Hockenheim, he's one of the top people to look forward to. His internet's not great though.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course as the field has loaded onto the grid, and we are going to get underway momentarily here for a 43-lap event, technically 44 because we'll have the pace lap, for a 43-lap event here around the 2.5-mile circuit, and we may have already had some disconnect. Yeah, it looks like TCPP Photo has already dropped out at the back of the grid. So yeah, we are going to be looking at a 15 car field for today's event. Everyone will single file up and they won't double up until the last few corners here. Real quickly, let's go ahead and take a look at the fuel numbers for everyone to try and get an idea what their strategies are going to be like. Our pole sitter has 42.7% in the fuel tank. Second place, Indy Shadow. His fuel numbers right now are 33%. Then after that is VNX Ruins. Ruins is at 35.5%. After that is SRT Jeff DXD. Jeff is set at 42.5% fuel. And then our fifth place qualifier, It's Maze. He is running with 34% fuel at the start of the race. Again, the series has significantly accelerated tire wear, so you're not really going to be seeing a lot of drivers running with a very heavy fuel load throughout most of these events. The hard tire compounds are an option, but that's another thing where it's just you're so slow on the hard tires, especially early on when you have a full fuel load in them. The hard tires just are completely uncompetitive. And like my co-broadcaster Suave here said, generally speaking, it's believed that going all softs all the way through is going to be the fastest way through this race today.
Yeah, like Insane said, Going the mediums isn't the fastest today. The drop off is just too much, and the pit is too short. At least if they go all softs. If they half-heartedly go soft mediums, they may lose more time than either solution.
I do also want to give a quick shout of thanks to Reckless for jumping in to do pace car duties for today's event, as we are going to see him pull off with a slightly larger field. There may be a possibility we end up seeing him again later today, but I don't think so. Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course is a circuit that lends itself to spraying out the field relatively quickly as everyone begins to double up at the head of the grid.
One of the Chevys just spun out on pace.
Well, they're going green anyway, regardless of his positioning, it seems. So we are off and we are underway here at Indianapolis. It looked like Railgun and Shadow were just about even on the throttle, but look at that. 3 wide back there for a 4th spot between Jeff, Mays, and Turtle. But going into turn number 1, who breaks later? Is it going to be Railgun or Shadow? Here comes the Dodge Viper, and Dodge gets turned. The Dodge Viper of Jeff gets...
Forward sideways
the other
well.
one. Yeah, Jeff is all sorts of sideways. He got ping-ponged a bunch of drivers. I believe it was SSR Quinn who went too deep into turn 1 and took one of the leaders out. But now, all of a sudden, it is Indy Shadow out the front, and it is Les Railgun who has slipped back to 2nd. And out of it all, It's Mays has found his position up in 3rd place now.
That was a fiery start. We lost a couple cars there. Thankfully, no damage from what it seems, because none hit the wall, but that's crazy.
Yeah, and I imagine that will be one of those kinds of incidents that get looked at post-event. Agent D's has made his way up into the 7th spot. NWR Arkina has just nipped by Breezy Rain to get into the 5th spot. And you have there VNX Ruins. He is hanging out in 4th position. Did fantastic in the Porsche yesterday. What can Ruins do today? He's going to have a little bit of an unsung advantage because he's driving the exact same car he did yesterday. He's going to be a lot more familiar with the car. He doesn't have to readjust and reacclimate. Could that give him an advantage? We're going to see here as he now closes up behind It's Mace as they come onto the front straightaway after completing their first lap at racing speed.
It looks like we got a 4-way battle here with Reaper, Arrow, Jeff, and Wick coming into the first corner. Going 2 wide. Oh, 3 wide. And the Porsche stays ahead.
I'm still watching Ruins as he stalks It's Maze as they now come down the back straightaway. Ruins is right behind Maze. Now he's going to look to the left-hand side. They're going to go side by side here for the 3rd and final step on the podium. Ruins on the inside, Maze on the outside. Who goes deeper under braking? They both broke at about the same time, but Ruins had that faster, ideal inside lane, and Maze does not seem to have the traction to try the crossover coming out of it. So now VNX Ruins moves up to 3rd. Here on the 2nd racing lap of the event. But at the front of the field is Indy Shadow, just barely staying ahead of Les Railgun.
We got a decent mid-pack group coming in as we head into the right-hander before the left-hander. What turn that is, on Reaper.
Watching at the lead as Indy Shadow is trying to move back and forth across the straightaway, trying to break the draft between himself and Les Railgun. I'm going to be honest, I don't really think those big sliding moves back and forth really helps with breaking the draft at all. You're going to scrub off more speed by going side by side than you are going to be screwing the driver behind you by taking the draft away from him. But right now, Les Railgun hanging out about 4/10 behind Shadow. They are both about 2 seconds ahead of the battle between Ruins and Maze. Ruin has the position over Maze, but just barely. Maze has the draft on the Porsche. Does he try to go for a big dive bomb and get 3rd position back? Coming into the end of the back straightaway, it does not look like he's going to go for it, but he doesn't have to. Ruins got into the dirt, got sideways, lost a huge chunk of time in the process, and Maze is now suddenly right behind the Porsche all over again as they head through the S's. Coming out of the S's this time, again, Ruins almost dropped his outside tire into the dirt. He is utilizing every inch of track and then some. Maze is a little bit more calm, a little bit more reserved in that machine right now. Pulls up right behind the rear wing of the Porsche again as they come through the chicane that cuts out Speedway Turn 1 into the final corner in this fight for 3rd now. The Porsche has a little bit wider of an entry onto the corner. Mays is a little bit straighter.
But it's not enough.
It does not look like it's enough.
He would have to dive bomb here for anything to stick. And he doesn't. He goes for the fast exit. And he's keeping in the draft. They're both in the dirt.
This time, yeah, both of them dropped tires in the dirt there just a little bit. I think Ruins got a little bit worse out of it than Mays. Oh, Ruins is really wide coming out of 4, trying to maximize his exit speed so he can try and pull on the Chevy a little bit in a straight line.
It seems to be working because that Chevy is barely within range to attempt something. And the Porsche goes in the dirt again.
Another fight going on farther back. That is the Ferrari of NDL Violet, who has just snuck by NWR Arkina. Something very interesting to consider right now. We have 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 positions at the moment. Incredible parity, at least early on in this race here.
You know, Shadow loves to make sure the cars are balanced, so I expect it to stay this way. I think the Aston got a retune this week, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a real tight race today.
A little bit farther down the grid, I'm looking at this menage a trois between Agent D's 1, Rebirth Quint, and Aero 592. They are all running nose to tail. It is a Porsche, a Dodge, and another Porsche as they go down the front straightaway this time by. This group is about 11 seconds out of the leader right now. Aero making a fake move to the inside. Now he turns into a real one, ends up getting into Rebirth Quint's right rear quarter panel. Doesn't really knock that number 3 Dodge offline. No big changes, if anything. Now Rebirth Quint looking to the inside, but gets blocked by D's as they come into turn number 4. Now out of turn number 4, the Dodge has some fantastic initial acceleration, some fantastic low-end grip. He's going to try and do that to make himself get side by side with D's, but all he's really done is open himself up to attack from Aero. And now Aero trying to wrap around the extreme outside. Can they make it a 2-driver overtake just on the back straightaway this time by? They can! Aero has gone from 3rd in this fight to 1st in this little fight. He's going to squeeze D's off circuit, and D still comes down in front of Quint. Now Quint dives down coming out of the S's, and D's now slips back to 11th. So for Quint, it just feels like the 2 Porsches swap positions all around him. He's still got a Porsche behind him and a Porsche in front of him.
You gotta take a look at this Barisi and Jeffy fight. They're bumper to bumper going into the last turn onto the straight. There's some contact. They're neck and neck.
Jeff was involved in that lap 1 instant, was spun, got hit by a bunch of drivers, but he is on the recovery drive right now.
Hey, drag race. The 4 looks like it's going to get ahead. Is it going to make it stick? Oh, a bit of bump on the back.
Ooh! The Chevy gives him a big shove in turn 1, gives him a smaller one in turn 2, but the 97 is absolutely out of here. He is gone. So that means that the top 6 cars are all different manufacturers, but the first repeat manufacturer in 7th place is a Ford GT, the same as the Ford GT that is reigning in 2nd. That is the driver of Les Railgun, who is continuing to stalk NDL Shadow around the circuit here.
It looks like Reaper and Arrow are up to their antics again. Bumper to bumper. Into the S's. Out of the S's. The right-hander after the banking.
Here's a little interesting thing to consider. I just looked at Shadow and Railgun's tire wear right now. Shadow is burning through his...
Diesel was just off the track. He just slid across the dirt, or from the S's, the last turn out of the S's. He's back on now, but he lost like 2 seconds worth.
As I was saying, in the fight between Shadow and Railgun, Shadow is burning through his tires a little bit faster than Railgun is. I look at Railgun, he's at 41% tire wear. I look at NDL Shadow, he is at 44% tire wear right now. That's about a 3% tire life difference. That is the kind of thing that will show up when these 2 drivers prepare to make their pit stops. They will really feel that difference on the final lap, their in lap, before they make their stop.
Ruins up with 46% on his wear, so he might be able to stay out maybe half a lap longer, maybe a bit longer.
43% wear for 4th place, it's Mays right now, so it seems like that fight for 3rd isn't really going to be shaken up too badly by tire life, I feel.
I don't know. Maybe Mays gets the overtake here because they're neck and neck right here. Not close enough to make a move here, but maybe if he stays in the draft, he can make a move on the straight. As they both dip their tires in the dirt, Mays, Mays, not Mays, Ruins cuts it. Yeah.
Jeff has already completed an overtake now on Arkina, so Jeff is on the extreme recovery drive. So now I have to ask, if we stay green to the end of this race, how high do you think SRT Jeff DXD can get up this grid with the pace that he is showing right now?
Contact between Ruins and Maze, he could probably make it up to like 4th at this point, because Shadow and Railgun are pretty much up and ahead away, and then it's 2 seconds to Ruin. So as long as Shadow and Railgun just either draft each other or just stay far enough ahead, I don't know if Jeff's gonna catch him. But I think Jeff could catch Violet and Maze, though.
Yeah. Ruins will definitely be the interesting one, if he can catch Ruins or not.
Yesterday, Ruins was pretty untouchable, so if he could catch Ruins, he just might be able to catch Railgun.
Once again, I look up at the head of the field at the tire life of our top two, though. Our leader is at 54.7% tire wear, 9% left in the fuel tank. I look at Les Railgun just behind. He's only at 52% tire wear, 16% left in the tire tank. I think that Railgun will be able to stay out for an entire extra lap over Shadow. He might be hurrying a bit, but I think he could stay out for an extra lap, and that could pay massive dividends for Railgun today.
Yeah, coming through some of these tire wears, like the overview, there's only one person that seems to be on a different strategy, and that is Breezy Rain, who's the only one right now to not be on minor tire wear. Let me see the exact
So Breezy
details.
Rain likely running, yeah, Breezy Rain looks like they're running a medium tire strategy. I like this. I like rolling the dice, but the problem is that Forza, especially once you're into the cars that are like S-Class to R-Class, like the GT3 cars are and the touring cars are, the soft tires are just massively overpowered. When you're in the way faster, way slower cars, the alternate strategies sometimes work out, but generally speaking, it's going to be hard. But if Breezy Rain can pull this off and bring home a result in the top half of the field, I would say job well done on his part.
Yeah, it's a bet you make when either you're aware that the pit is long or your pace might not be the fastest. Try to get one under them. But I don't know if it's going to work out for Breezy here.
One thing that doesn't seem to be working out right now is Maze trying to make moves on Ruins. He's close enough to stalk Ruins. Ruins got by him several laps ago, but Ruins has not been able to run off into the distance. Maze has stayed right there on the rear wing of this Porsche for multiple laps, but Maze hasn't really been able to get alongside him the entire time.
The trio's at it again. It's a 5-long train into the second to the last turn. Oh, we got Leswick into the pits. We got a side-by-side between a Porsche
big dive bomb! That was a big dive bomb! And Maze completes a humongous dive bomb! He did 2 fake-outs on Ruins going down the straightaway and then went for a big dive bomb in turn number 1. Maze not only gets ahead of Ruins, but pulls a gap of about a second on Ruins, catching Ruins completely off guard. And I have to wonder how much of that is because of Ruins' tire wear, because he is already at 67% left rear tire wear on his Porsche right now.
Ancient Diesel gets the overtake on Rebirth as they head into turn 3.
Don't look now. We also have a fight now developing for the lead. Shadow is now being harassed by Railgun here on the 11th lap of the race. Shadow on the outside. Railgun looking to the inside, but Shadow's going to move over, shut the door at the last possible moment as they come to the short chute that's between Speedway turns 1 and 2. This is the only part of the track with banking. The car gets unloaded and reloaded in weird ways through here, and that's it. Shadow's coming into the pits. So is Railgun. So is Maze.
It looks like most of the entire field is going to start heading in as Diesel is on moderate tire wear fighting against Rebirth and the Dodge side by side onto the banking.
Porsche versus Dodge. Porsche on the outside. Dodge on the inside. Just about side by side. It looks like the Dodge is going to complete it. And yes, they all come in. Everyone is pitting except for Breezy Rain, who is on that medium tire strategy right now.
If he can hold a more similar pace to the top 5 people in this race, he might just be able to pull it off. Or if,
Well,
like
with
one of
this-
your suggestions yesterday, do medium soft and run the mediums into the ground, he could probably get some positions there.
Yeah, it would be an interesting thing, but as they came out of the pit lane, it is Indy Shadow still ahead of Les Railgun, but just barely.
there's
But It's
contact.
Maze is... Yeah, immediate contact in turn 1. Wow. And It's Maze in third is not too far behind, but VNX Ruins pushed those tires too far. He is now 4 seconds off of It's Maze. Reminder, at the start of lap 11, Ruins was still ahead of Maze. Now, at the start of lap 12, Ruins is 4 seconds behind Maze. So Ruins may be fast, but he seems to be putting a lot more wear on these tires than what he wants to. That might be all it takes for Maze to secure a potential podium run today.
You just gotta hope both of your strategies are well thought out, because if it ends up like Sebring, it might come to the very end. It may come down to who runs out of fuel first, or who makes that extra pit stop.
Onto the short strip between Speedway turns 1 and 2, and now into the heavy braking zone of the final 3 corners again goes our leader. Shadow continues to lead over Railgun. He has led basically the entire race, although not right now, obviously, because Breezy Rain is leading on an alternate strategy, but he has been the leading on the primary strategy, the strategy that says, hey, let's start the race on soft tire compounds. Shadow goes to the inside. Railgun follows him so he can maintain the draft. Now Shadow starts going back to the outside as they go down the back straightaway. Railgun not really close enough to make any big dives or big moves in turn 1. I think Railgun is content to just hang out behind Shadow right now. But I have to wonder, is he still going to be content if we see Maze catch these two at the head of the field?
Meanwhile, we got Arkina trying to catch up with some time on Turtles so we could compete with Violet. And they're about a second off into turn 1. He's making up some time. Oh, looks like we got a bit of a battle between Arrow and Tempered right here. Bumper to bumper. As they head through the S and head into the straight before the S's.
Rebirth Quint is relatively close to that battle as well right now.
The Tempered go
My
for
focus
it here.
is
No, he
my
decides
focus
to
is
keep the
still
strap.
on this lead group. I'm going to ride on board with It's Maze for about a lap, so we can get an idea from his perspective on if there is a serious fight between Shadow and Railgun for what's currently second on track or not.
Looks like Rebirth's looking up inside. Oh! The angle made it look bad. I thought he hit the Porsche. And that's Tempered in the bit. Dodge is gonna try to catch up here. Get some draft on a straight. And we got ourselves a train for 10, 11, 12. And I think that's... yeah, that's 13th as well. How's the fight up front? There.
Alright, and that was a full lap on board with It's Maze, as we see Railgun has completely lost touch with Indy Shadow.
And
So now I
Rebirth-
have to wonder,
And Rebirth gets
has
the overtake over Tempered as they head into the beginning of the front straight.
already our leader, our second place driver, Shadow, is at 21% tire wear. I look at Les Railgun, who is in second. His tire wear is at 20%. So for whatever reason, Railgun seems to be down on lap time now, and is just hemorrhaging time to Shadow. He has lost ground to Indy Shadow, and now Railgun is just struggling to stay ahead of
And
It's
Tempered
Maze
gets
at the
that
moment.
double overtake over Arrow and Rebirth into turn 1. As Temper's looking up to catch up to Leswick on the straight. Will he make a
Breezy
move here
Rain
or stay in
finally
the draft?
pitting out of the lead on lap 15. Tempered Ship giving Leswick a little bit of a bumper shove as they come into the S's once again in this 4-car fight for 10th place on circuit.
He's kissing that bumper. Is he gonna go for it here? He goes,
He's trying,
and he bailed. He was gonna hit the quarter panel.
but he's immediately right on that rear wing and rear diffuser, that Ford GT again, and now they come into the final corner. The Chevy typically has a horsepower advantage over the Ford. If they come onto the straight this time by, the Ford is on the outside, the Chevy is on the inside. It's going to be a drag race between two American manufacturers fighting for a 10th spot on circuit. Who's going to break deeper into the corner? That is the big question.
They're a little close to the wall. Who's gonna get through? And it's tempered.
It was tempered, but there was maybe a paper width of space between the two of them as they got into the brakes, but Tempered Ship has muscled his way by Leswick. So the Ford GTs, which seemed all but unassailable at Hockenheim a week ago, seem to be a lot more all over the place with their performance today. Meanwhile, Les Railgun still trying to stay ahead of It's Maze. VNX Ruins is in clean air while Maze is fighting with Railgun. So all that time that Ruins lost on those burnt out tires, he is starting to claw it back. He is now within 3 seconds of Maze. The thing is, as the tires are continuing to burn up, he is running out of time. Ruins has to catch Maze and then hope that he doesn't lose as much ground as he did last time when he pushed the tires too far. It's going to get really interesting, the fight between Maze and Ruins. And here's the other thing to remember. Everyone who pitted at the end of lap 11, that very first stint of the race is going to be the least difficult on tires if you're running the all-soft strategy, because you got that first pace lap where you're going way slower through the corners. Now everyone's going full bore all the way around. Everyone's going to be dealing with a little bit more tire wear. If they were really on the edge of making it last set of 11 laps, this set of 11 laps is going to be absolutely pain to try and make it work.
One of the reasons why I avoided going softs in the first place, because I wasn't sure if I could run them into the ground like that. But with these higher horsepower vehicles going a couple seconds faster, they might lose some significant time if they push it too far.
There's a fight between a Chevrolet and a Dodge. It is Breezy Rain and HGR Turtle. Rain and Turtle have already swapped positions twice on this lap. Rain is currently in 7th position. Turtle is in 8th at the moment. But now we see HGR Turtle looking back to the inside with the Dodge. And it looks like Rain's going to give him the inside. Turtle gets the position completed before they even get out. Well, it's not complete yet. He actually ends up having to give the outside line back to Breezy Rain, and now Rain has the inside in the second to last corner, but they're still going to be side by side as they come to the final corner, and here comes NWR Arkina right behind them. Arkina is going to have a massive amount of draft on both of these two.
This group of four is still close together and battling, but they haven't been super close that anyone's tried to dive bomb. They were just sticking together into each other's draft, trying to catch up to the lead, what, 5 or so?
Seems like it. Breezy Rain goes wide, coming out of turn number 4, and that's going to let Arkina slip by. So Rain now slips to 9th. Arkina up into 8th. He's got to run on HGR Turtle. What does Arkina try to do to Turtle here? Aston Martin versus Dodge. Does Arkina pull out? No, Arkina does not pull out. They all stay nose to tail, 7th, 8th, and 9th, as they come into the S's now. Les Railgun has finally broken away from It's Maze and is scooting away from Maze, and Ruins continues to close down on Maze. Now we see Arkina looking at the outside of HDR Turtle. Turtle's going to have a really tight line, super defensive. He actually had to go ghost mode to not get run over, and Turtle's going to go into the pits now. So Turtle pits on lap 19, much earlier than anticipated.
Well, the pace lap is about half damage on the tires. So if he did 10 laps, and then he did 9 laps, or I guess 8 laps, we haven't started lap 20, his tires might already be a little bit cooked. And he needs to worry about that, probably. Speaking of which, let's check on the tire wear.
Yep, Indy Shadow, your leader by about almost 2 seconds. He's at 48% tire wear right now. Les Railgun, our second place driver in the Ford, his tire wear is at 48% as well just now. It's Mays, who is in third position. His tire wear is at 48.4%. VNX Ruins, who is running in fourth, his tire wear is at 50% on the rears. And then fifth place, SRT Jeff DXC, who is on the recovery drive. He is only at 48% tire wear right now. It seems to me that as this race has gone on, our top three have all kind of stabilized their tire wear, but Ruins may still be in trouble.
Side by side. Oh, that's a bit of contact on the Dodge between Rebirth and Arrow.
It was Rebirth and Les Wick made some contact, and Arrow just kind of had nowhere to go, kind of threw his Porsche into the middle of the fight like, hey, I'm here, look out, guys. Quint's trying to get a nice wide line coming onto the front straightaway. He's got a draft on Arrow this time by. Is this going to be enough for the Dodge to try and make a big move on Arrow as they come down to turn number 1?
He goes for it, but he doesn't have the overspeed for it, and one of his tires just hit at minor.
How deep into the tire wear do you want to go? This is going to be a little bit worse than what it was earlier in the first stint. That is the big question. But if you can make the tires last to lap 22, then theoretically you only have one more stop around lap 33.
But if he pits here, he's going to have to pit again and for softs, and that might not work out in his favor. He might drop below diesel at this point.
Leswick under pressure from Arrow still now as they come onto the short chute. The Porsche looks to the inside, the Ford GT's on the outside, but the Porsche does not have the tire grip to hold the inside line. He slides high in that banking of the short chute. And not really stay alongside. Oh, here comes a move by Quint, but Quint cannot stay on the outside as they go through the final quarter, and now they shoot onto the front straightaway once again. Nose to tail, Ford GT, Porsche, and Dodge.
You think the Porsche will go for it here, or you bail?
It looks like he's already setting up for it. He's looking to the inside. Does he go deep under braking? He's deep enough to get his nose there, but he has to bail. He just does not have what it takes, but he ends up hitting the Ford from behind, and then he gets hit from behind by Rebirth Quint. Now he looks back to the inside of the Ford GT. Side by side to turn 4.
It's a drag race.
Coming out, who's going to get the advantage going through that high-speed S chicane?
It looks like...
Oh, here comes Rebirth! Rebirth has a fantastic run! They're going to be 3 wide as they go down the back straightaway this time by! Who's going to go deeper under braking this time? It's the Dodge! The Dodge is going to go really deep! They will make big contact! They're still 3 wide as they come into the S's this time by! The Dodge trying to wrap it around the outside of the Ford GT this time by! And he's not going to be able to do it! It is Leswick who holds on to 10th position! And now Arrow comes back to it as they come into the short chute once again. Rebirth Quint slides out wide. Wick to the inside. Here comes Quint. Right to the inside.
Side by side into a second to last turn. Quint keeps it.
And neither of them pitted this lap, interestingly enough. They're both going to stay out on these old tires a little bit longer.
We're going to start feeling it on that one tire. One of the tires got moderate.
They're not going to be the only one. Indy Shadow is now in the 67% wear rate. He's going to be hemorrhaging time. He already is. Les Railgun behind him is only at 65%, and Railgun is absolutely tearing up the gap between himself and Indy Shadow. So while Shadow is nice and fast early in the run, it seems like the tire wear advantage is still distinctly in favor of the Ford GTs. Railgun now within about half a second, but they're both pitting at the exact same time. Railgun could close the gap down, but he could not get alongside Shadow, it seems. Here comes the entire field in the pit lane.
Meanwhile, we got a couple people here with engine damage that probably should come in sooner rather than later. Rebirth with 4%. Arrow with 0.7. And the rest of the field... Oh! Arkino with 1.9% as he's getting chased by Ruins.
Ruins pitted just the last lap. He pitted a lap ago, so he's trying to split the race into nice, even 11-lap stints. This means that Ruins is going to gain a whole bunch of positions by staying out this time. And this will also see Breezy Rain. It will only breathe for a brief period of time, but I think we're going to see Breezy Rain briefly go back into the podium positions here. I don't think, however, they're going to be able to overtake Shadow or Railgun, or maybe they will. They're coming down, and it does not look like it. Breezy Rain's only going to be able to get up to the third position, just ahead of their teammate, It's Maze, as Rain continues to run on their alternate strategy right now.
Will we see these two battle each other, or will one let out the other pass between Maze and Breezy? Yeah, they go into the back straight.
Yeah, and if Breezy is held up by Maze for long enough, Ruins will be able to get right back by and try and make something happen on Maze this time.
As Ruins goes bumper to bumper through the S's.
Yeah, Ruins is right there behind Breezy, but can't seem to figure out a way to get by. Here it is!
Here it is!
Side by side, neck and neck, Chevy on the outside, Porsche on the inside, as they dive down into the chicane that cuts out Speedway Turn 1, and yes, Ruins has gotten the position back from Breezy, and now Ruins can set their focus back on It's Maze, who's only about 0.8 of a second ahead. While this is going on, Indy El Shadow is starting to open his gap on Les Railgun again, and It's Maze is not really close to our top two once again. So Shadow has continued to stay ahead of Railgun for just about the entirety of this race.
Spun Turtle. Right by the second to last turn.
Turtle's going to be able to get away, no damage to the car, but that's likely the kind of thing that we could see being submitted as an SI, as a submission inquiry or instant inquiry later in the day today.
It looks like we got a battle between Rebirth and Arrow again, as they make it down the front straight.
This is the fight that won't die. Dodge versus
Side
Porsche.
by side into turn 3.
The Porsche made a big mistake going into turn number 2, and through turn 3, Quint is going to get back ahead of Arrow there.
Porsche got enough of a run onto the straight. Will he go for it here? He's close enough to get the draft. He goes to the inside. Side by side through it. Will he stick to it? Rebirth touches Arrow, and Arrow's a bit off.
Meanwhile, there is another fight, a fight for the final step on the podium, side by side between Ruins and Maze. Ruins goes really deep into turn number 1, maybe a little bit too deep. The outside line is open. Can Maze get the crossover make? No, he cannot make the crossover streak. Ruins goes back into third position, just barely ahead of Maze. Maze looks back to the inside of Ruins as they go through turn number 4 this time. Can't hold it there. It is still Porsche ahead of Chevrolet as they go through that high-speed chicane and onto the back straightaway once again.
Looks like that's our closest battle right now.
Oh, Ruins into the dirt. Ruins. He didn't lose too much time, but he dropped that outside right rear tire into the dirt.
As Maze
gets a fantastic drive, but it's not enough to get alongside.
No, he will cut the draft. As they both dip a tire into dirt on the left side, they head onto the front straight.
Out of the final corner, now the gap between them is a little bit bigger. It's about 0.4, almost half a second between Ruins and Maze. Maze still close enough to get a draft. And already you can see the gap slightly shrinking down, but it's not going to be enough for Maze to make any big moves. Leswick now has just gone ahead and made his stop that will drop him back out of the top 6 positions.
Meanwhile, it looks like we got a fight for last. Our fight to not be last between Diesel and Quinn right here. As they head through the S's onto the banking.
Not a good exit there by Diesel, and now Quinn gets right up behind, but Quinn's having trouble with traction as well. He bleeds off most of his own speed. No big changes between the duo as they go through the banked part of the circuit. The Porsche's really wide as they come to the third to last corner, now to the second to last corner. The Dodge looks to the inside, but cannot make it stick. Ends up just compromising his lines. It seems like neither Dees or Quinn are having a good time trying to get ideal lines in their cars right now.
It looks like something that has happened to Les Wick because he's just dropped 3 positions. Now he's closer to Reaper.
He made a pit stop. Yeah, he made a pit stop, and that is the main reason why he is so far down the order. He had just came out of the pits.
Alright.
But at the front, it is Indy Shadow leading by 1.5 seconds over a Les Railgun. Third place is VNX Ruins, who has taken that spot from It's Maze, who is running in fourth. Fifth place is Breezy Rain, who is the only driver running the significantly alternate strategy right now.
He should be pitting soon. He's at 10% fuel, and his tires isn't going to last much longer. If the diagnostics are right, it should be around 3% or 4% fuel per lap. So within the next 3 laps, he should pit.
But in that case, if he's going to pit at the end of lap 30, he'll only have a 14-15 lap run to the end there. This would work out well enough for him, I would figure. He only has one more stop left. Everyone else, I think, also has one more stop left. But it's going to be a much more difficult one more stop left because everyone else is going to be dealing with some horrendous tire wear to the end.
You gotta hope the rubber helps him a little bit at the end, but getting to 33 might be the hard part.
Well, if Breezy can get to 33, he's going to be in a fantastic spot. I think he's just going to try and get to lap 30 and pit then and put another set of mediums on.
Yeah, Breezy will be fine, but the others going to lap 33, those are some really dead softs. They pitted on lap 22, right?
Yeah. Was it 22?
Or was it 20?
I think he pitted later than that. I think his pit stop, if I remember correctly, was around 15, 16.
Yeah, Breeze will be fine. The others, I don't know. As we head back to the back of the pack, Diesel and Quinn into the S's. As Diesel tries to defend his position against Quinn through the S's onto the banking. Not close enough to make a move, I don't think.
Farther up the grid.
Get the draft.
Yeah, farther up the grid, Rebirth Quince continues to harass Les Wick here around the circuit, but cannot seem to get his Dodge alongside the Ford GT here. He keeps trying, but just can't seem to make it stick.
Meanwhile, Tempered and Arkina about half a second from each other, going down the back straight. As we wait for Tempered to catch up to Arkina. Both were on... No, Tempered has more fuel. I think he hit it. Right? No, he hasn't. He just overfueled the car. I believe that Chevy's mid-engine, so unlike a Porsche's yesterday, I don't think there's as much of an advantage overfueling the car here. As we take a look at Leslick and Rebirth again, as they head onto the front straight. Can Rebirth get enough draft here to pass, or is he gonna have to wait until the back straight? As Rebirth almost hits Leslick.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Indianapolis. 30 laps into the event, and we have our first caution flag on the circuit, it looks like. Or I think we may have just had our first caution flag, because I just saw our pace car, Reckless, come out. And yes, we have a caution with on lap 30 out of 44. So drivers such as Breezy Rain are going to be in a fantastic spot. They already know what their car handles like on medium tires. You could probably jump into the pits, throw on some mediums under this, and go to the end. The other option, though, put on the soft tires and hope that this yellow flag lasts long enough that you won't have to worry about too much tire fall off to the end. This is going to get really interesting.
Indeed. You gotta hope it's a 2-lapper or more, but I didn't see the incident, so I don't know why they called it. So
yeah, I also ended up missing the incident that happened as well. We're also deep enough into the race where drivers are now going a lap down. SSR Quinn and Agent D's have both gone a lap down at this stage of the event. I don't know if any of the drivers who already got their pit stops made, such as Temper Chip, I don't know if any of them are going to be able to catch the rear of this grid before they pit. If they do, that could be some free pit stops. You've been with the series a little bit longer, Suave. Please elaborate. What are the yellow flag pit road rules in this series?
60 miles an hour, no overtaking, single file until green flag is called. When green flag is called, single file until the leader crosses the line, and you go.
All right. And it looks like 5 of our top 6 have pitted, but It's Maze has elected to stay out on track for a little bit longer. My guess is that Maze says, look, I've got some life in my tires still. I want to stay out a little bit longer. Pit at the end of lap 33, so I have soft tires to go to the end with minimal fall off. He is betting that everyone else either is on soft tires and will have some massive fall off, or will be on medium tires and just won't be able to make anything work. It's an interesting strategy. I'll also say that his teammate Tempered Chip has cycled his way up into second spot, and it looks like Indy Violet and the Ferrari has cycled their way up into third spot as well.
I don't know what Temper's thinking here. His left tire's already on minor here. He's not going to last to the end here, so he might just miss a free pit. He might just miss a free pit.
He might try a pit coming to the green flag, hoping that by doing so he can make something happen. If you're pitting as the field comes to the green flag, you're not going to fall the entire length of the pit stop behind. You'll only fall half of it, and he may be betting that something like that might benefit him, but it looks like the entire field is going to be gathered up very shortly here. Arrow is in 13th place. He is 40 seconds out of the lead and rapidly closing down. We should probably see them go green at the end of this lap, I imagine.
They might not go green, because you got a couple people who are unlapping themselves here.
Oh, so Agent D's and SSR Quinn are both going to go ahead and get a lap back. So no, I think this might work out, maybe not fantastically, but may work out well for Tempered Chip, because he's going to be pitting about a lap or so later than everyone else. He's going to have fresher tires. Now he's going to be near the rear of the grid, but we are getting really tight on tire life right now. Pitting as late as possible could be a massive benefit for him.
He could very much take advantage of those stops here. If it's one more pit lap after this, yeah, there it is.
Maze is coming into the pits again, and so does Tempered Chip. So they're both going to go ahead and have tires that are going to be 1 lap fresher on the run to the end. They're going to be near the rear of the grid, but their tires are going to be a little bit fresher to the end. Now, the interesting thing is that this puts Indy Violet now up into the lead in the Ferrari, and Indy Violet has almost nowhere on those tires whatsoever. He's at 10% with 35% in the fuel tank. Now, I don't know if Violet's already put on soft tires or if they've put medium tires on, but they did pit just before this came out, so I assume they have softs. If they've got softs, Violet's got a lot of track position, but they are going to be absolutely hurting when we finally go green here.
Everyone's back on the lead lap. Now we just gotta wait for everyone to come together.
Agent D's and SSR Quinn rushing around the circuit right now. They are currently being registered as being about 80 seconds off of the lead lap, off of the leaders. If we're going to stay under yellow for another lap, that means we won't go green until lap 34. You could pit.
I think they're gonna go green here.
If they're going to go green this time, one possible strategy would be
green flag called 854. green at end of this lap.
All right. So for Dees and Quinn, they have to hope that they've opened up enough of a gap that they won't be caught by the leaders again, but their chances at getting higher than 14th and 15th seem to be pretty much dead. They will not catch the lead group. Violet is on already worn tires. Are they going to stay out and try to make something happen, or are they going to try and pit and play a wild game? Everyone else here already has somewhere on their tires. And mind you, it's Maze and Tempered Chip in 12th and 13th. They are going to have fresher tires than everyone ahead of him. Not by much, but we are going to be talking about a game of inches, not miles, when it comes to the tire life coming to the green flag here.
Oh, Violet almost loses it on the pace lap. He was drifting a lot through there.
All right, out of the final corner, Violet's going to be the one setting the pace as they come to the green flag. They'll be going green with 12 laps to go at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Who has the tires to make it to the end?
Oh, that's not a single file. There's someone out of the file in there. And Violet.
Yeah, that was Arrow. You could see in the background there, Arrow made an overtake on Rebirth Quint before they even hit the green there. But it looks like Violet's got a good start, and already it's Maze and Tempered Chip are making their way up the grid right now. Tempered Chip side by side with Leswick. Here comes a big move, and Tempered Chip's going to get knocked wide in the middle of a three-wide fight. Gets into it with several other cars. We have spinners going through turns 1 and 2.
Shit.
One of them is HDR Turtle. Tempered Chip, while he didn't go around, was knocked all sorts of off circuit, and I believe Arrow 592 may have been involved in that mess at the back of the grid as well.
That might be another yellow right there, because that was like 3-4 cars on your end, right?
I saw 2 cars for sure. I don't know about 3 though, but I definitely saw 2 cars. It's Maze has moved up into the 9th position already. At the head of the field, it is NDL Violet leading over NDL Shadow. I see the pace car moving though on the track. Has a yellow flag been called? That is the question.
Take a look.
Oh, and that's a spin by Ruins! Ruins spinning in 3rd position! He is completely out of control in 3rd position! Barely keeps the car on the circuit, but the car is completely sideways. Arcana pits, Maze pits, Rebirth Quint pits, but Ruins has slipped from 3rd to 5th just before the yellow flag was called.
Did they all get damaged there? Because they all pitted in the previous
I don't
lap.
know. I think all those drivers are putting on new soft tires, so they know they won't have any tire fall off to the end here. And the field's relatively close together, bunched up. This may be a very short yellow flag here.
Yeah, but they would have been better off catching up to the grid and pitting there, so they don't lose time.
Well, if they just stayed on track to catch up to the grid, everyone would have been together at the end of this lap, and they would not have had time to pit.
That's fair. Might go for just 1 lap here, or they might wait for the rest of them.
This is a great windfall, though, for SSR Quinn, because he gets to go from being half a lap down to the leaders. He is now going to be up in the 8th position. Now, his tires are going to be dead and cooked, but he has gone up into the 8th position, so a fantastic turnaround of fortune for him.
Same with Diesel and Turtle. Now everyone's within 50 seconds. They could probably make that up at full speed at this point.
I do think that NWR Arcana, who is the leader of everyone who pitted, he is definitely going to catch the rear of this grid before we come to the end of this lap. NDL Violet, though, I imagine, is happy with this yellow flag because it lets him save his tire life just a little bit longer. He's still at 24.8%. The tires aren't looking great for Violet, but anything to help the tire life is going to be massively appreciated, and NDL Shadow's got to be absolutely frustrated. Oh, here comes Shadow! Shadow's going to come into the pit. Railgun's pitting! Leswick is pitting, SSR Quinn is pitting, so more drivers pitting under this yellow flag condition. Rebirth Quint's going to make another pit stop as well now. All of a sudden, SRT Jeff, DXC, who was involved in that lap 1 incident, he's made his way up into the 2nd position all of a sudden.
And with this new lap of safety car, Diesel and Turtle are finally like within reach to maybe... Yeah, as Diesel goes 9th and Turtle goes 11th.
Arrow, who was involved in that incident earlier, is going to end up being midfield by the looks of it as well, I think. Ruins also is back up to third, despite having that big twitch and slide. He is back up to third, and Breezy Rain is up into the fourth position as well now.
We've got to get a clip to review of that later, because it seems like that restart lap was just straight chaos.
Yeah, we saw an overtake early before the leader hit the line by Arrow, and then we saw a bunch of chaos going into turn number 1 as well. Definitely things that will be looked at post-event, I imagine. When we go green, we'll be going green with 9 laps to go. If you pitted under this yellow flag, you have the tires to make it to the end, no doubt. And the entire field is now gathered up, so we should be going green this time by.
We have not gotten the green flag yet.
Well, everyone's here, so I don't know why we're not going green now.
Yeah, nothing has been sent for Miles, so looks like we're going another lap. I mean, this is great for anyone on softs, don't get me wrong, but everyone's
Well,
here.
at this point, we're at a position where now, if you've got the fresher tires, but you're not allowed to go green this time, well, you're just going to be wasting time. HDR Turtle is going to say, all right, I'll pit again. So he's going to give up track position for even better tires. But again, at this point, if you've got the soft tires, you're going to be like, let me go so I can actually make something happen here.
I'm not too sure of that, because they're only using half as much as if they were going green. So they might just chill here in 6th gear and just conserve. Like, just straight up, it's all good for them. And now we got the green flag.
Arguably a lap later than it needed to be, but it looks like we'll be going green with 8 laps to go. Real quickly, I look at Indy Violet, your leader. I look at his tire life at the moment. They are at 30% on their most worn tires. It is going to be rough for Violet. They are going to be holding up a whole pack of angry cars. Then you'll have Jeff right there in second. They're at 16% tire life right now. Third place, VNX Ruins, who had that big spin just as this yellow was called. He is at 17% tire life. And then fourth place is Breezy Rain, who has been running an alternate strategy. They're at 16% tire life. Fifth place, NWR Arkina, highest he's been all day. He's only at 11% tire life. Arkina could be in a fantastic position as we're coming to the green flag. And HDR Turtle made his pit stop, has already caught the rear of the grid, so he's going to have a tire advantage over a lot of the drivers around him as well. But the drivers who have dominated most of this race, Shadow, Railgun, are they going to be able to make their way from 10th on the grid, 10th and back on the grid, up to the lead in just 8 laps? I think they have the capability. I think they have the ability. They're definitely going to have the tires, but will they be able to make all the overtakes necessary?
They might, but there's a couple people here who have underfueled their car, so they might actually go to the front faster. Violet with only 24% compared to the rest of the field around 30%, and Maze with 22%. I'm not sure if that's going to last till the end, but we may see Maze get a nice jump start here.
Coming to the green flag, once again, the field a little bit better organized in single file formation, and we will stay single file. No, we don't. Again, the same driver, it's the same Porsche of Arrow, made a jump, and that wasn't the only one. Ruin's got a gigantic jump in the Porsche. Ruin says, I don't care about anything. He's going for it. He's already side by side for a lead with Violet. Ruin's going deep under braking in turn number 1. Here comes Arkina. Arkina's trying to make something happen.
Oh, sideways.
Arkina up to
sideways
second.
off the pair on the right. The 3 Dodgers pass.
Breezy Rain off circuit, Maze is off circuit, and Shadow is already up in the 4th position. You can't do anything against faster drivers if everyone else who is slower is too busy wrecking themselves out of the way of the faster drivers. Shadow already up in the 4th place, and I hate to say it, but I think that automatically is going to give NDL Shadow this win back. I see no way he can't pass Violet, Arkina, and Ruins on the run to the finish here.
Violet's going to have fresher tires and lower fuel, so maybe Shadow can make it stick, but I don't know about that one, Chief.
Well, we'll see. Ruins leads right now. Arkina right behind. Arkina, the highest that they have been all race long. Second position at the moment. Shadow already closed up behind. Looks to the inside. Side by side. Ferrari goes wide. Can't make anything of it. Shadow back into the podium positions already. And here we go. Ruins leading Arkina, but Arkina is right behind the Porsche. They are nose to tail as they come onto the front straightaway again. Nose to tail for first and second position. Almost nose to tail for third and fourth as well. Does Arkina try any big moves as they come down in turn number 1? Nope, nothing that time.
Nope. Looks like they're holding form here. Looks like they're waiting until the front straight as some of them get a little bit loose on the curbs.
But they may not want to wait if they have to because Indy Shadow is already there. He has caught Arkina and Ruins. He's got 7 laps that he can play with to try and get by these drivers.
The rear, right behind Shadow. He may go for the outside. No, switches back to the inside as they head into the left-hander. And he's
big
side
dive bomb.
collision.
He's got him. And Violet's back ahead of Shadow.
And he's right behind Arkina. Bumper to bumper.
Arkina gets right in the Ruins. Ruins nearly spins coming out of the S's. They're all over the place coming out of the S's. Now on to the banked part of the circuit once again. Ruins barely holding station over Arkina. Violet getting really racy. Violet puts the bumper to Arkina's rear diffuser now.
And Violet keeps eating that bumper.
Nose to tail, top 4 positions.
As it becomes a 4-wide train into the front straight. Who's going to go for the dive bomb here?
How does he try to defend against 3 different drivers? That is the big question. Arkina is right there. He could pull in, try and make a dive bomb in turn 1. Is he going to go for it? No, Arkina is going to... No! He does break late, though, and Violet misses the corner. Violet misses the corner in the process and loses ground, but Shadow can't get back by. Despite having the fresher tire, Shadow just can't seem to get by Violet, it would appear. And now Violet's fallen almost out of the draft, and we're back under the yellow flag. We are back under caution here.
Back under
Don't
caution
know what's
again?
warranted this one. Yeah, we're back under caution again.
905. Okay, I missed it. We were watching the front.
So we are back under the yellow flag, so we're likely going to be going... Well, I don't know if they're going to wait for last place Breezy Rain to catch the field, but if they don't, we're going to go green. That might be
why they called it, because Breezy wasn't even that far down throughout the entire race.
Well, if they're going to wait, we'll go green with 4 to go, but if they're not waiting on Breezy Rain, we're going to go green with 5 to go. That will be the big question.
I have not seen the green flag come yet. Yeah, looks like they're staying out.
This is great news for Violet, though. Violet was getting really concerned about their fuel numbers, but now with all this extra yellow, they should be able to... Oh, no! Violet says they don't trust it. Violet's pinning. Violet says, I can't make it on fuel. Violet is pinning.
Might have sold it there, because he could have conserved fuel and just run off of 4 laps.
Well, this makes it now Ruins, Arkina, Shadow, Arrow, and Railgun. Now, the last 2 restarts, Arrow has had a gigantic jump. He's pulled out of line and made overtakes before the leaders have hit the start-finish line. So we'll got to keep an eye on Arrow. Is he going to try and make another jump? Unless I'm misunderstanding the rules, at least, Arrow is pulling out of line and making moves way before anyone else has been. Yeah, on the last 2 restarts.
There's been a couple people pulling out of line a little early. I don't think jump it with going faster than 60, but they've definitely left the line before the leader crossed it. It's supposed to be a single file restart on these safety cars. We still do not have the green flag. Looks like we'll let Breezy catch up. Or not Breezy, Quinn.
I would hope that they throw the green flag now. I don't know why they would not throw the green flag now. The entire field is here.
I'll keep a close eye on it. No green flag as we head into the banking.
Who is deciding to not put out the green flag?
Every green flag so far has been by Llama. Guys, we're heading to the last corner. No green flag?
I don't know what the reason or justification is. So now it's only going to be a 3-lap restart here.
3-lap sprint to the end. Not sure if that's gonna... There it is! Green flag. So next lap.
Arrow already pulled out a line coming to the green this time and got a bit of a jump like he was going to go, but then realized the pace car was still on track and backed it down. But we need to keep an eye on Arrow on this restart to see if he's going to try and jump again. Or at least, again, I might be wrong. Maybe he's not jumping. Maybe he's just very good at reading the rules of the restarts. I could be wrong. But it looks like he's been jumping the restarts.
Yeah, every time so far he's been out of line. Maybe he's gotten a good start, but it's just been not organized.
Well, as we come to this restart, you go ahead and keep your eye on Ruins, Arcana, and Shadow. I'm going to be watching Arrow in particular to see if there is a jump there. So it will be a 3-lap shootout to the end here. All 15 drivers still on the lead lap, everyone on top of each other, and depending on how chaotic it is, we could see any of them win this race. Shadow has been out in front, one of the best drivers, if not the best driver all day today, but he's got to make 2 overtakes in 3 laps and hope that he does not get caught by someone behind in the process.
Looks like our up front is our top 7 is just between the 3 brands or so.
All right, pace car in. Coming to the restart. Will it be Ruins? Will it be Arcana? Will it be Shadow? That is the question. Or could it be someone else farther down the grid?
As we head into the restart, people are getting a little squirrely.
Arrow does a fine job staying in line this time. No jump that time. The Shadow's looking to the inside. Can't do anything out of it. Ruin's got a nice little gap between himself and Arcana.
Looks like half of the line got separated as they were grouping up.
Shadow goes deep on Arcana. There's nothing Arcana can do. One of the dodges are off farther back, but Shadow's already up in the 2nd position. And that is Arrow, who's 3rd, but deep in the dirt.
Shadow's looking up the inside as he goes bumper to bumper Ruins.
It is chaos farther back. It is Arrow versus Les Railgun as they come onto the back straightaway for a 3rd position now. Is there anything that Railgun can do against that Porsche? Doesn't look like it. Seems like this restart was a little bit calmer, but Shadow is right there harassing Ruins. Ruins has been behind Shadow by a significant margin all day today, but now, when the time has come, can Ruins do anything to keep Shadow behind him? They're coming onto the bank part of the circuit once again. Ruins defending the inside. Shadow trying to go even deeper. He's going to go really low. He's
Ruins
wide, and he's into the dirt. He went for the move, and Shadow is into the dirt. And also, Railgun is there.
You might see Ford make the comeback here. As
Shadow down under
right behind
pressure.
Pressure by LES Railgun.
And Arrow 592 is back into the 4th position as well. But Ruins has now opened up a 9-10 second gap on Shadow.
Bumper cars in the 1st corner.
This is perfect for Ruins. He just needs them all to keep bumping into each other and holding each other up so he can maintain his minimal gap. I checked the tire life real quickly. It's only 40% wear for Ruins. He's not going to have to worry about tire life to the end. Now look at Shadow. He's at 41%. He also shouldn't have to worry about tire life. What of Railgun in third? Will his tires be good? He's only at 41%. So yeah, everyone should be good on tires to the end here. Here comes Leswick to the inside of Arrow. Can't make it stick. He ends up going wide in the process. And now it's Mace is trying to recover from his accident earlier. He's going to put Leswick under some pressure.
Watch those battles. Keep an eye on that Breezy and Diesel gap. And Diesel and Turtle as well. It's like
Arkina sadly has fallen all the way to last place on track, although he's just nupped by Turtle. And Shadow has caught in Ruins once again, coming to the white flag. Could we see a last lap overtake on Shadow versus Ruins?
Someone disconnected.
Coming to the white flag, this time by, it will be nose to tail. Will there be an overtake as they come down in turn number one?
Disconnected.
Ruins defends the inside. Shadow looking to the inside. Now Shadow looks to the inside. Ruins still defending the inside. Shadow's gonna go deep. Shadow makes the move to the inside. Side by side in turn number one. Neither of them are very happy through there. They're still all over the place. Here comes the 4GT in the process. Last Railgun is there, but there's no room for Railgun to go. Shadow goes into the lead. Side by side for second position now. The 4GT clears the Porsche.
Final lap. Does Ruins go for it here?
Does Railgun have anything for Shadow? Shadow defends the inside. Now he starts drifting high to defend the outside line. Railgun, does he pull out for a big dive? No, Railgun does not. Shadow is back into the lead with a last lap overtake.
As they head into the S's, side by side, side by side.
Ruins has slipped back to the third spot.
As Violet picks up the pieces and gets a nice double overtake. Oh, he's still side by side. It's the whole group, 4 through 8.
Final three corners. Shadow holding it over Railgun. Shadow needs to not go wide. He is wide. Here comes Railgun on Shadow, but there's not enough room on the track. He looks to the inside again, the second to last corner. There's still nothing. He looks to the inside, the final corner. It won't matter. Coming to the checkered flag. Indio Shadow is going to have a recovery drive and pull off the win here at Indianapolis by less than a quarter of a second.
Side by side, fourth side by side Chevys.
And somehow, in the chaos of it all, it looks like Indy Violet, despite making that late pit, pulled out with a fourth place result anyway. It's going to take a while to figure out exactly the final finishing order, but we do know this. Indy Shadow won. My ticker says it was Railgun, but we saw on track that Indy Shadow won. Railgun came home second, and VNX Ruins came home in the third position here. Well, that was a pretty chaotic event, I would say. We're going to go ahead and take a Twitch-mandated ad break, and when we come back, we'll get some interviews with some of our top finishers here at Indianapolis. Well, that was interesting. Are in-race penalties, are the Forza penalties still counted by you guys? Could we have seen...
Yes.
Okay, so Railgun actually won legitimately due to penalty count back then, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay, that would explain a lot. I want to verify looking at the race results. Yeah, okay, so yeah, Shadow had... Alright, so Railgun won off the back of penalties then. Okay, so because he had way fewer penalties. Okay, I miscalled. I'm so used to being in series that don't have penalties, and I see positions flip late, and it's usually due to a little bit of a hiccup. So, okay, so I made the miscall there.
Is protest the penalties if it's something super egregious by the Forza system, but in general we enforce it.
I mean, 4 penalties for Shadow, adding up to 3.6 seconds. Something tells me that was just it was a small but reasonable penalty for each of them for Shadow, and that's what's killed him at the end.
Yeah, he could have had Ruins right there if it wasn't for that.
Yeah. I mean, he was the first one across the line, so...
That was a photo finish, if I ever seen one. It was just that last 3 laps, they all like grouped together in the middle. They were like battling out through the last few corners.
All right, I've sent some invites out. Hopefully, some of our podium drivers are willing to jump in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. After a very chaotic GT3 race here, a lot of crazy stuff going on, and coming into the party is one of our podium finishers. It is VNX Ruins. Hopefully, Ruins is able to get some connection here. VNX Ruins, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Ruins, in the Xbox party,
Yeah,
there'll
yeah,
be a little box.
I already did.
All
Just
right,
let me show
Suave,
that.
I'll let you go ahead and start. Suave?
Oh. How
Yeah.
did the car feel? What was your strategy? And
Okay, let's start with the strategy. So I had in mind to just pull off the same thing I did yesterday in PCS, however, with the safety cars and everything, that just wasn't an option. Also, I don't know why the car was just burning through the tires way more than it did in PCS. I'm going to assume I just put way too low tire pressure on the car, so that could be why. What else? Yeah, at the end I put it for mediums, didn't pit again, and yeah, that allowed Shadow and Railgun to get ahead of me on the very first corner, but technically second and third.
All right, well, still a top 3 result, a podium result, but I do want to ask you, Ruins, just before that last yellow flag came out, as they came through the banking section between the speedway turns 1 and 2, you had a big twist, and I thought for sure that car was going to spin out. You kept it on track, lost some positions, but you kept it on track. How in the world did you keep that car under you then?
So the trick to SimCity in motorsport is just to brake when you get sim twitch. And don't be like, how do I say this? Basically, don't make any drastic inputs. So don't just put your stick to the left and right and so on. Just keep it steady and just brake and hope you don't spin out.
Well, you definitely made it work. Even though you lost 2 positions in the process, you gained them right back. That was absolutely incredible. Is there anything else you want to say before we go ahead and let you go?
Well, there's nothing funny much to say besides good racing to both Shadow and Reagan, and also Maze, who kept it ahead of me for quite a bit of time. But then, I mean, just good racing in general for everyone else that was in the lobby today.
All right, Ruins, thanks for jumping in and talking with us. I look forward to seeing more of you in the future in this series.
Yeah, I hope I will be more active as well and show up next weekend.
All right. Well, this is going to be really interesting here. But yeah, that was our second place finisher. I'm going to go ahead and reach out, see if anyone else of our top 5 finishers want to go ahead and get an interview in before we wrap up our broadcast here. Let's see here. Yeah. All right, yeah. Well, it says that Railgun is not able to jump in because he's having a game bar issue. So Violet says they want a thing, so yeah.
What about Shadow?
1 second.
Oh,
here we are. Violet's coming in now.
Violet.
All right, coming into the party right now is Indyl Violet. Violet, can you hear us?
Yep.
In the Xbox party, there will be a little box to click that will say include my audio. Can you hit that?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, sweet. Violet, it was a very interesting time. You were the last driver to make a pit stop, making your final stop with about 5 laps to go. And yet, despite that, you went ahead and came back to a top 5 result. How in the world did you make that happen?
Honestly, it was a really interesting race. The Ferrari was, I don't know if it's my tune or but I was losing like 4 seconds a lap on my final in lap on soft just because of the tire wear that I was getting from the rear end of the car. So that kind of resulted in like a 4 or 5 second loss every time I went to the pit, which was so. And I had this funny little idea. Second safety car came out to try and save the tire and the fuel to get to the end. Bear in mind, there was like 14, 15. I had 10 laps of fuel and 10% of my tires already, so I thought I'm not going to get any better than where I was at the time. Thought I may as well try and something. And that third safety car came out. First I thought I'd fucked my race. It kind of, but I didn't have the tyre to make it to the end once I realised that how aggressive the start was going to be after the second restart. Told me, so fun. Yeah, then I pit again, and 14th to 4th, probably too upset with aggressive, sent a lot of crazy moves, almost made like easiest move of my life into turn 2. There was 2 cars wide, or 2 cars like side by side going through turn 2, and another one stuck behind them. Right, so I almost passed 3 in 1, but I got really lucky with the timing on a lot of it, and
that least
work out
last
for you
restart,
somehow.
those last couple restarts were just straight chaos.
oh yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to say, Violet, before we go ahead and let you go for the night?
That was fun. Keep streaming this, dude. This league's good. And it's not chaos anyway, but the chaos is fun at least.
This is
Right.
still much better chaos than other groups I've been with, so you don't have to worry about that. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us, Violet.
Alright, bro. Have a good one.
All right, and now I want to talk to the driver who was the first driver to cross the finish line and take the checkered flag, but penalties ended up relegating him down to third. Indy Shadow. Shadow, go ahead and include your audio in the Xbox party. Frustrating race. It felt like you did everything right, but the win still ended up not being in your lap. What do you have to say about the run out there today?
Yeah, man, I kind of got robbed by the safety cars a bit. I think from pretty much every scenario on the safety cars, I was gonna have a good chance to win. But that last one messed me up again, and so I ended up dropping places from penalties that were questionable. Yeah, it was
Do
really
you think...
rough.
So you ended up with a 3.6 second total amount of penalties. Do you think you'll be able to submit any of them for review and get any of them removed to get at least one position back?
No, because my clipping software wasn't working. I pressed the button to clip it, and then the sound didn't go off. So
How many clips did you make?
I didn't know they didn't work.
How many times
So
did
0.
How many times did you try it though? Like, how many
I tried.
penalties were BS?
It doesn't matter a ton. I think I still have the championship lead by like a whole race. So
Yeah, you could probably
Yeah,
just
not the worst
coast.
thing.
Yeah.
All right, speaking of which, next week it will be a different circuit. Do you think you can, pull out a more legitimate win with a more legitimate gap going at
Insane.
next week's event?
Insane. Next week's
What?
actually the mid-season break is the week after that.
Oh. All right, well then, correction, Shadow. In 2 weeks, do you think you can pull off a similar performance without the penalty BS derailing you?
yes, I think I'm generally like pretty decent at Suzuka. And the Aston Martin should be more competitive there than it was here. It was about, I think, a tenth and a half off the pace here, and it should be closer to the front there.
Well, for being a tenth and a half off the pace,
Yeah,
you
you got the
spent a lot of
fastest
time
lap.
at you spent a lot of time at the head of the grid. So
Yeah,
Yeah, I
to be
wouldn't say
fair,
that.
the Ford was in the same situation. The C7 and the Ferrari were the quickest here by my testing.
Well, way to prove, I guess, the data wrong, because it looks like both you and Railgun beat whatever the data said it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you should feel about that, considering you make
Yeah.
the data as well.
Well, I know sometimes, in my experience at least, because I also have done quite a bit of car balancing, usually I'm not on the level of team-affiliated drivers like Shadow, but in my time, I've definitely seen scenarios where in race circumstances, cars will end up performing differently. The rubber is getting on the track differently. You're spending more time in the draft. You're spending more time getting the reverse aero wash, and things like that can really up in car performance numbers. But still, either way, Shadow, great job to disprove your own data, I would argue, one way or another. That's pretty impressive, however you look at it. Unless you have anything else you want to say.
No. Thank you for streaming. Have a good evening.
All right. Thanks for jumping in and talking with us. We'll talk to you at a later time. That will pretty much wrap up our interviews here. We tried to reach out to Les Railgun, but apparently Railgun was having some technical issues on his end, so our official winner, our unofficial winner, there may be penalties getting removed later, but I doubt it. But Railgun will not be able to talk with us due to those technical issues, but we were able to talk with second, third, and fourth place finishers here. So, real quick, debrief at the end of the race. Suave, biggest takeaway from the race from your perspective?
A lot of unexpected things happening in this race. The end result's kind of what I expected, but the journey to get here was riddled with excitement and competition. However else you describe it.
I feel like the number one takeaway from this event is what NDL Violet did. Violet started way near the back of the grid, at the very rear of the grid. We didn't really talk about Violet at all today. However, when the yellow flag started coming out, Violet ended up at the front. They took a gamble. If I was in Violet's position, I would have never taken that gamble, but Violet took a gamble to make a pit stop with 5 laps left. Very aware and very astute and aggressive on the final 3-lap sprint to the end, and ended up pulling out a 4th place result out of the end anyway. I think that goes to show that even if you are not the absolute fastest, you can make some incredible moves in short periods of time in this series right now. So keep that in mind going forward. Sadly, on my end, I missed most of the overtakes, if not all the overtakes that Violet did at the end. But there is a lot of potential that you can have going from the back to the front if you're just aware, astute, and aggressive.
Yeah. With 12 positions gained, that would make him our driver of the day. Most of the others mostly stayed in place. Except for a safety car dropping 50 positions, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Rebirth Quint also ended up dropping 5 positions over the course of the day, and Tempered Ship and SSR Quinn both gained 5 spots as well. But in the case of Tempered Ship and SSR Quinn, they both obviously benefit from Arkina having lagged out, coming to the white flag. So with that in mind, that'll pretty much wrap up our broadcast here from Indianapolis. It's going to be a 2-week break, I believe, for this series. Is it going to be a 2-week break for the Friday series as well?
I think so, yeah.
All right, so it will be a 2-week break for X
For
League.
Suzuka on April... Put the calendar real quick, give me a second.
11th, I believe it would be.
Counter. Suzuka, yeah, it'll be the 11th for Pro, 10th for PCS.
All right. Well, that's the word. You heard it here, folks. But everyone, thanks for jumping in. I have been your host for today's broadcast in St. Louis 13. I've also been joined by Lil Kid Suave, who has been the host of his own broadcast as well. Thank you very much for joining us. Unless you have anything else to say, I think it's farewell and goodbye, everyone.
Bye.